Hello again. This is take two of a previous video. Unfortunately, that video failed on me, which hopefully I can get some bugs that I know I messed up on out of the way. This is in response to our previous discussion regarding Susan Sontag's on photography, in which the meat of the book is basically Sontag's opinions about different aspects of photography, and not just on photography itself, but also on film, which is brought up numerous times, as well, surprisingly, aspects of feminism, in which he makes mention of some interesting subject matter that I didn't find relevant to this discussion, so I'm just going to omit them for now. Maybe I'll return to another discussion. Who knows? But what I found that interested me in the book was her discussion about Diane Arbus, who was a photographer I'd never heard of until after I read the section, the whole 10 pages, where Sontag essentially tears apart Diane Arbus's work. Um, Arbus, for those that don't know, in case they need a refresher, was a photographer that was interested in capturing the subject matter of, I guess you could say, freaks, so to speak. Dwarves, acromegalia sufferers, those ones that have giantism, for those also not even know about that. Drag queens, transvestites, identical twins, just anything that she found unusual, she was going to capture it. She herself says in one entry that was republished in Sontag's book is that she give me just 1 second. I'm very little drawn to photographing people that are known or even subjects that are known. They fascinate me when I've barely heard of them. Now, one could take this to mean that she was interested in photographing the strangers, but Sontag makes a point, as she says, that Arbus was drawn to the maimed and the ugly, that it would never have occurred to Arbus to photograph thalidomide babies or Nepal victims, public horrors, deformities with sentimental or ethical associations, which is just one sample of the literal slap fight that Sontag gives to Arbus, because Arbus never really photographed images that were supposed to elicit the emotional response that was necessary. And I would have to agree to that point because of the fact that when I went through Arbus's work, while I found them interesting from a sociological standpoint, as far as eliciting an emotional response goes, I think the the idea of her studium and punctum does not go over too well. Now, there are several different elements in her photography that I found interesting, such as the Jewish giant, which I shall proceed to show you, as well as the triplets in their bedroom in New Jersey photograph, which I'll also go ahead and show you right now since I'm on that page. This was taken in 1963, mind you, and it doesn't say if they're conjoined or not. I don't think they are. And I suppose what one could say as far as an interest goes is that it's just mostly a slice of life type of photograph. It's just a different slice of life. Like, if you were to compare our Diane Arbus with Robert Frank, who took similar subject matter but his was mostly conservative and compared to how should I put this? This was, Robert Frank was the Hulk Hogan compared to Diane Arbus's Undertaker, if we're going to put this in terms a lot of people can understand, in which he represented one aspect of America and she represented a darker aspect, but that's still there, but everybody was frightened to know about it. The triplets photograph here from New Jersey, I would have to say, just only seizes me from the fact that it's just three identical triplets sitting in their bedroom one day just relaxing. But there's no real meat to the photograph. There's nothing to really grab you and just hook you in like something Robert Frank would have done. Who also that brings to mind a photograph I saw him do of a woman in McDonald's that was looking tired as she worked over the counter. Now, there's several different ways that can elicit an emotional response there, but there's not a whole lot here that you can see from Diane Arbus's work, unfortunately, because while it's admirable that she was able to go befriend her subjects before photographing them and thereby actually getting them to sit and pose for her, at the same time you lose that sense of realness that would be necessary for us to, if she was wanting us to feel sorry for these people, it does not come across too well. As I said in class, at some instances it comes across as very cartoony and thus not very lifelike, that she would have needed to really grab you. The Jewish giant photograph was a popular subject for me to talk about because of the fact that I did not find it too stimulating. I found this one to be the worst offender as far as being a cartoon goes because of the fact that if you look and see the giant's mother or his parents, they have like an expression that would belong from either a Tex Avery or Chuck Jones cartoon for Warner Brothers. But if it had been, but the only thing I can see that would really elicit an emotional response from anybody would be the fact that, as you can see again, and I did not notice this until just a few moments ago, the giant has a cane, which if anybody knows about the sufferers of acromegaly, means that once they reach a certain height of 7 foot or even 8 feet tall, they start having back issues. This is what Andre the Giant suffered from. This is what Robert Wadlow suffered from, who was most famous for being the world's tallest man in Ripley's. It's just that's the only real emotional response I can give. Now, what I would have liked to get out of the photograph would have been more of a sense of what they do in their daily lives, but unfortunately that did not happen. As we move forward more into on photography, I hope to see a little bit more from this discussion. Hope you have a good one. Talk to you later. Bye.